Welcome to Gospel Today TV. I'm here with my man Isaac Carree. How you doing, Isaac?
Good, Roland. How you feeling, man?
Good, man. Doing great, great. So, how's your day been? How's things coming with the new album on the way?
Oh man, I'm in grind mode, man. We're just days away from the release of my sophomore project Reset. So I'm very excited, man. I'm honored to be able to be with you guys there at Gospel Today.
So, Isaac, we were talking a little bit about mentors, and you've had some of the great artists of all time be your mentors in the form of John P. Kee, Kirk Franklin, with whom you've traveled the world. And like you said, it was for what, some 20 something years that you were not a solo artist. When it comes to mentors, just first of all, talk to us about how those relationships came about with John Key and with Kirk. And then, secondly, I would like to hear you talk about what makes a mentorship relationship work.
Um, okay, well, Pastor Key has been knowing me since I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I was from North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina. He's from Charlotte. Well, he's from Durham, but he was living in Charlotte at the time. And he knew my mom. He watched me grow up. He knew I had the ability to sing, but when I got 16, 17 years old, he started showing interest. And he called my mom, and he got a chance to hear me sing as a young teenager. And he was like, yo, I want to do a record on him with some other guys, which is where I met Lowell. And so he kind of took me in and literally showed me the ropes. It's amazing that 20 plus years later, I'm still using things that I learned from Pastor Key. That's timeless education. Those are things you can't pay for. Those are things that you can't go to school for. It was God ordained for me to be there, for me to be raised up in his camp, and we still have a wonderful relationship to this day. We just talked on last night. So those are things that he taught me what to do, what not to do, how to handle myself, how to engage with my audience. Those are things that I learned from. With Kirk, um, it was amazing. Kirk is like the biggest gospel artist of all time. And Kirk is more concerned with my soul and me being a better person than he ever has been about me being a good artist. So I had somebody who really groomed me from artistry standpoint. Then I have another great artist that groomed me from a male standpoint, how to be a better husband, better father, better provider, uh, better businessman, how to save your money. You know, so when you put those things together, I'm a byproduct of their teaching. So I would be doing myself a disservice, and I would be doing God a disservice. I would be doing people a disservice if I don't take the things that I learned that are priceless, that some people will never get a chance to get this information and not share it with somebody else. So it's important for me to share my wisdom, my understanding, and how I made it work as being as being a student of mentors like them is not having an arterial motive, not doing it with a trick up my sleeve. Oh, I'm gonna do this just to get on, and when I get on, I'm gonna branch off and do my own thing. But I actually stayed. I became a student, and so much so to the point where I was a student so long and so much that they had to kind of kick me out the nest. Because I'm a dude that's when I'm around wise people, I become a sponge and I want to soak up everything that I can. And and I just served. I served unselfishly. Whatever it was they needed me to do, I did. I did it with a sweet spirit. I was always professional. I play a lot. I have fun, but I do my job. And though I'm a team person. So they trust me working with other people. I have a teachable spirit. So I'm humble. So those are things that made it easy for them to want to work with me and to want to be around John P. Key for 4 to 5 years, to want to be around Kirk Franklin for 8 plus years now. So now it's time for me now to take that information and bring some other people up under my wings and kind of share with them my experiences. Well, it's almost one of those situations for me where it's almost like I liken that to my situation with not having a biological father in my present life. It's almost like, do I cry about it? Do I complain and blame everybody in the world for me not having what I wanted or what I may have necessarily needed? Or do I pick up the pieces, figure it out, and depend on God to lead and direct me? And I think you do the latter. You depend on God to lead and direct you. You ask your heavenly Father to order your steps. You make sure that He's He's the driver and you're just a passenger. And what happens from that point, God will send you people that will speak into your life that has good intentions, that won't take advantage of you, that won't pimp or prostitute your gift, but they'll sow into you, whether it's money, whether it's knowledge, whether it's wisdom, whether it's understanding, whether it's just accountability. Sometimes people have mentors, but because people are not saying what they want to hear and doing what they want, they look at them as enemy. Sometimes somebody needs to tell you, you're not ready, sit down. That could be a mentor. But because that's not what you want to hear, you shun away from it. So you really have to be spiritually mature to hear the voice of God, because sometimes the Bible even talks about being rebuked. You know, there's a time for that. There's a time for somebody to tell you you're wrong. You shouldn't have handled that situation that way. Went about it the wrong way. You shouldn't have spoke to that person that way. You were disrespectful. You were arrogant. And you have to take that because that's a part of growth. And what I'm learning about the new generation is you don't have a lot of people with teachable spirits. You have a lot of people with talent, but you don't have a lot of people that want to learn, actually learn what it takes to be successful. And when you have talent without a teachable spirit, it's a disaster waiting to happen. I think it's only one mistake that people make. And I think the biggest mistake that people make is they look for the person to be their source. And they're only the resource. God is the source. So if I look to Kirk to come save the day for me, when Kirk fails me or when Kirk doesn't text me back or call me back, now I'm mad with Kirk. He don't got me back. He not looking out for me. When the truth of the matter is Kirk is a resource. God is the source. So I think what you do is you understand that that person has their own life, their own business, their own career, their own children, their own wives. You know, what you get what you get from them when you get it. But I think God helps those who help themselves. The reason I get so much support from Kirk and John and Men of Standard and everybody who's been a part of my life is because they saw me get up off my butt and go out there and make it happen for myself without a label, without a pocket full of, without broken promises. I get out there and made trials and errors, but I did it to make it happen for myself. Now, so like, you know what? I don't mind helping somebody who gets it. I don't mind helping somebody who sees more for them than what I even saw for them. I mean, there are people that have come to me and be like, man, I didn't think you were going to fail, but I didn't know how you pull this off. And I'm amazed at how you did it, because I don't think I would have had the endurance you've done. That's a testament. That's a testament to me that, and I can look back at a Kurt or John and say that comes from good teaching. I saw you do it. I saw Kurt become front liner when people talked about him being radical. People talked about him dancing too much. His music was this, and I saw him take the blows. So now that I can go into places that I couldn't have gone 20 years ago. I saw John go through the same thing and be the modern day person that shifted a youth movement. And he had the biggest youth movement ever gospel music has ever seen. I saw him go through that, and people talk about him. People have these feelings about him, but he pressed through it. So for me, it really doesn't matter how I do it and what people say about the way I do it. It really matters the end result, and that, and as long as God is pleased and my family is pleased. Oh, well, we first of all understand that God blesses people collectively as well as individually. And I feel like at that time and at that season, we all agreed that at that time we had gone as far as we can go. And there were some individual things that God wanted to raise up in us. For example, Brian's a pastor. And he's been a pastor, but the whole time he was with Minister Stanley, he was pastor in the majority of that time. But he never got a chance to give his church 100% because he was battling ministries between Minister Stanley ministry and church ministry. Well, it was time for him to embark upon giving his church 100% as an individual that didn't benefit me and Lowell. And as a result of his obedience, God exalted him and took him from one place to another, and now it's, you know, he skyrocketed, all because of obedience. It wasn't easy, but we had to obey. Lowell, same thing. You know, he wanted to do a solo album. He did his first solo album, and it, you know, great record. He's working. He's busy. He's working on his second album now. It was all because of obedience, and the same thing for me. So we understood the difference between collective blessings and individual blessings, and it was just a season for us to tap into some individual blessings. But like you said, we support each other. We're still there. We talk. Lowell and I just had lunch last week, and we keep each other abreast of what's going on in our careers, and we move forward.